That's right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Thanks for being here. Nice to be back on the morning shift. Nice to be back on the morning shift. Oh, boy. It's good to see you guys. Oh, look at all these names. The regulars. I miss you guys when we don't have a regular morning situation. Thank you for being here, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome back to we just all need to agree to disagree on the whole offensive coordinator thing. The whole thing. The whole thing. We just need to agree to disagree. Just in terms of everything. Meaning the appropriate perspective and way to look at Tommy Rees's Notre Dame legacy. Agree to disagree. That's fine. And also what's going on with the new offense coordinator and that hire and all that. And we'll get into that. I'm telling you, this offensive coordinator search and all the drama and social media and the rumors, and it's going to be this guy, it's going to be that guy, it's going to be this guy. No, it's going to be that guy. And that happened to me this morning before this show even. It was going to be one guy. Now it's not going to be that guy. It's almost more wild than the head coach hire. And maybe that's because I felt there was an obvious front runner in the building for that, and it was Freeman. But this is getting wild, you guys. It's getting wild. It's almost too much. So we'll get into it. But I mean when I say I woke up to multiple people telling me it's going to be this guy, and then by the time the show starts, it's no longer going to be that guy. It's wild. And again, if you followed this program for any amount of time, you'll know what I always say. It's never boring with Notre Dame. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter what time of year. It doesn't matter. There's always something in Notre Dame land. Always something. And again, I don't have the perspective of being a fan of another team or doing this kind of work for another team to be able to know if it's just us. If it's just us or if it would be like this everywhere. And I think it would be like this everywhere to a large extent if it's a competing program, a national brand kind of, top 10 type program. Maybe, but I still feel like there's a little extra with Notre Dame. Whatever the topic is, I feel like there's extra. And a part of it, I've said this before, and I mean this. A part of Notre Dame's fanhood never agreeing on anything, in my opinion, more than a lot of other fan bases don't agree, I think has to do with how large the fan base is for Notre Dame and how different they are. How completely different they are. Think about the difference between a guy who grew up in Chicago, went to Notre Dame for law school, now he's a lawyer in downtown Chicago, and that's his deal, versus just an Irish Catholic guy that lives in Boston and loves what Notre Dame represents, never even been there, never went to school there, not smart enough, not rich enough to get in, but he's loyal to the death for those Irish Catholic values, what they represent. Notre Dame's the biggest thing. Like, that guy's worldview of Notre Dame is going to be totally different than a law school grad who went to Notre Dame. But they all love Notre Dame. So because we're so spread out and the reasons we love Notre Dame are so vastly different, person to person, family to family, that increases the variance in responses you're going to get to any stimuli, any situation, any development. You're going to have more opinions in the mix, that vary more because everybody's coming at this from different points of view. And I think that's fine. It's just wild. It's wild. I'm going to get into some of what I mean. So let's do the introduction, the roll call. I don't know how long this show is going to go today. I have some stuff I got to do later in the morning, but I just wanted to get some of this out, even if it's a shorter show, just to chew on it with you guys in the chat, see what you think. So obviously, thank you for being here. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on. That way you'll be alerted every time a new episode drops so you don't miss anything. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You can give me call-in line 312-900-8815. Tell Johnny all that you heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire. I'm going to tell you what. I'm not just saying this because I work for them. they're doing a lot of work on this offensive coordinator thing. My boss, the managing editor, Nick Shepkowski, he has been putting out stuff every single day, breaking down all of these potential hires, the plus side, the minus side, their history, anything you could want. So please, if you need some of that information, Google Fighting Irish Wire. There's a lot of good stuff out there. And not just for me. Don't just look for mine. Look for everybody's. I wouldn't want anybody to just have my opinion all the time, even me. It's not healthy. Go see what everybody thinks. All right, here's first things first. Paul Conley with the $5 holler. Paul, it means a lot. I appreciate it. And he says Marcus Freeman will come through on the offense coordinator hire. He needs to. It's a big one, and the timing's kind of rough on it, so we'll see how he does. Uncle Fred, good morning to you. What else? We have Stephen Arado. Morning, Irish Nation, our fearless leader, John. If you're letting me lead, I'll try. I'm not the perfect leader, but I'll try to lead us through these conversations. Nick Dean was hoping it'd be a night show, stuck at work. Go Fighting Irish. Unfortunately, you guys, sometimes the real world gets in the way on a Friday night. You have actual obligations. The Friday night shows are fun as hell. Oh my God. The Friday night shows are fun. It is just, even if you tell yourself nobody's drinking, nobody's smoking, nobody's doing anything, Friday night brings out something in people. It's Friday night. They're out of work, whatever it is. They have a couple drinks. All the Friday night shows have been lively, not only from my end, but from everybody else's end. Even little things, you guys, the language is a little looser. People, it's just 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. is a big difference, especially on a Friday. And I understand that. I just can't make it happen every single week. Uncle Fred, did you guys see this last night? I got this message. Brian Kelly filed for divorce from his wife, Packy. And somebody sent that to me and asked what I thought. I had two original thoughts. Here's the first thing. Listen, divorce is a very uncomfortable, messy thing, and there's kids involved and all that. I never wish this problem on anybody, even Kelly. But I also have humor in my DNA to react to anything, even serious stuff. So here are my two reactions to this. Number one, is this an LSU thing? Ed Orgeron did the same thing when he got down there. What, do they go down there and realize there's so many more women in that area? They just can't be tied down? It's kind of weird to me that that's happened with both of those guys. They get down there and then the divorce comes up. So that's kind of interesting to me. He's single, ready to mingle. You're going to see Kelly down on Mardi Gras, with the handing out beads now or what? And my second one, which is more of a joke, but I'm dead serious, is with this news, congratulations to former Mrs. Kelly for being the second highest paid person that works at LSU. So she just got a lot richer. So if this goes through, second highest paid person at LSU. That's a lot of dough. But listen, coaches' lives are hard. I can't imagine trying to keep a family together when you're moving all the time. You're never home. You're doing this and that. It's a lot of pressure and responsibility on the wife to fill every role. Think about it, man. You got to fulfill every role at the house. The dad's gone. There's social media talking about your husband and your family and all the pressure. And listen, there's a plus side to that. You get paid generational wealth. So I never sit there. I feel bad. People are talking about these coaches. A part of you making the amount of money you make, that your whole family's good forever, baked into that job description is dealing with online trolls, rumors about you, rumors about your family, people saying you're not a good enough coach, your team's not winning, you suck. That all goes into it. That's all a part of the job description to make them what these guys make. But I am saying, if you really think about these coaches' wives, that's tough. That's tough. You're doing a lot of that, raising them kids and doing all that on your own, deflecting bullets, people taking shots at your family, your husband. It's not an easy life, but it is a lucrative one. So I wish them both all the best. It would just be hilarious if you see Kelly pop up with some 30-year-old girlfriend or something. So I don't want to make it about him today. I'm always going to have my problems with him, but this isn't one of them. This isn't one of them. Uncle Fred, Kelly's ready to party, and he's not going to be a Southern gentleman about it. I predict he makes a complete ass out of himself, and it ends in arrest. Wow, we just took that really far. Really far. Pat, good to see you here. He's going to connect with me later. Again, Paul is the man, the donator. Paul says, send in some super chats. John deserves it. Paul, I'm going to tell you this. If I ever get to the point in my life where I need an agent for anything, you're the man I'm calling. You are my hype man. And then Mikey Poles is going to be my bodyguard. So that's what we're going to do if we ever need that. Me and Dr. John hit the streets. Paul's going to be the hype man. Oh, drunk Vigo. Damn, Johnny, I just woke up and my back is stiff. Well, that could be for a lot of reasons. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Did you have a long night with the ladies or something else? Or what are we doing here with your back? Oh, playing a hockey 3-on-3. That'll do it. Hockey's a physical workout, man. Them guys are in shape. Physical workout. Happy Friday, Homer TD. Drunk Vigo. My movement is impaired. My brain's impaired. Mikey Poles. Good morning, John. It's my birthday, and all I want is a great OC hire. Mikey, it means a lot to me that you're here on your birthday. Congratulations, my friend. And again, credit to you for all your weightlifting accomplishments. That's a huge undertaking, a lot of commitment. Not a lot of guys could do it. Proud of you and happy to have you here. Luke Collins, good to see you. Good to see you. Mark Holzum, BK filing for divorce makes a whole new meaning to my family. Well, my family just got smaller by one person. There's still room. Angela Rudiger, good to see you. It's always good to have a Rudiger in the chat. Always good to have a Rudiger. Deb Thomas, good to see you here. Matthew Longston, Mardi Gras time for B. Kelly. That's what I was thinking too, man. Let's make some moves. Oh, Bass and Domer. Sounds like Colin Klein will not be our OC. That information has changed in the last last hour, compared to what I was told last night and first thing this morning. So I was getting ready for that to maybe be it, based on the people that tell me stuff that are usually right. That's the other thing. When I hear, you have to understand, when you're doing what I'm doing, I'm not saying I'm important. I'm not saying I'm anything. But people that like this show, when they hear something or somebody tells them something, they message me to see if I heard it. Well, that ends up being 25 of these a day or every couple days when we're in one of these cycles. When the hiring thing with Kelly Freeman happened, it was the same way. If you heard this, I heard this. You heard that, you heard this. All of these guys, I've heard that, they're going to be it and they're really interested, and it never is it. So I don't know what to make. I don't know. I got this morning wrapping my mind around Colin Klein. That was going to be the guy. I heard that was almost done or whatever. And it was all looking like that half hour ago. And then boom, now that's not the case. I don't know what happened. I don't know what they're going to do. Uncle Fred. Uncle Fred's trying to stir up. You know what that would cause, Fred. I'm not even going to go there. You know what that would cause, whether it's justified or not. And I do not want to be in the middle of that. Old Grim, I'm always here. I just never comment. Well, I'm happy to have you here. Thank you. Beautiful. Beautiful. Look at this. Homer TD. I know who the next OC will be. It will be whomever Freeman selects. Face blue smiling. Here's the issue, you guys. With my show, here's what I'll say. I'm perfectly happy to react to the actual news instead of trying to break news early when I'm not sure that it's going to happen. And that's a trap I see too many people fall into on Twitter. Not so much YouTube, because that's another step, but on Twitter, I see it a lot, is wanting to break the news, which is awesome. If you're the first one to break the news and it's right, bam, you get all that social credibility. You get the credibility being the guy you knew. You had the inside scoop. You were the first one getting an article out, first one with the tweet saying that this is it. There are a lot of advantages to being the one to break new news. The issue is if you're wrong, you can lose a lot of credibility if you don't already have a lot of credibility built up with people already in the wagon. That's how I look at that. Like, if you don't have a 10-year history of being the guy to break news and your track record's pretty right with recruiting, coaching hires, injuries, whatever those mysteries are, you run yourself at a real risk, or your brand, if you're trying to break the news instead of respond to it if you're not sure. And the other thing that happens in my position is a lot of people that I do trust that have a track record that I keep track of, okay, this guy texted me this. Did it end up being right or wrong? Like, I have a log of that. So I know when I hear things from certain people where we're at and what their history is with predicting things. It's just too many people want to break it. And if you're wrong, if you don't have built up credibility, it's going to hurt you a little bit. And it should. And it should. That's the other thing. Because what people can't let people do is go on YouTube and do breaking news or tweet breaking news. This is the guy. This is the guy. If you're wrong, it can't just be, oh, whatever, you're wrong. And then when you're right, you get all the credit. Like, no, there is a penalty to breaking news when you're wrong. It's a ding to your credibility. It should be that way. You don't just get to try and guess and be the first one to break the news and throw out every different name, and then one of them's right, and then you look good. It doesn't work that way. So perfectly happy to react to the news instead of break it. And when I hear things, or people will say, John, somebody I trust, say, John, here's what's going on, blah, 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 blah. But don't burn my source by running your mouth with all the details on your show. That's helpful for me because sometimes I can tiptoe around things or say things that lead to a certain conclusion without totally saying it and burning my bridge and my source, and then thereby proxy their source in the program or close to the program. So I see a lot of that, but it's just the nature of social media. It's the nature of social media. Everybody wants those clicks. Everybody. But I'm perfectly happy to react to the news rather than break it. And so let's get through introduction with a couple of these chats, and then I'll go back to finish my statement. Oh, man. Brandon Fry, excited for the future hire. Brandon, good to see you here. Happy Friday. Drunk says most Notre Dame fans haven't been on campus. Probably just by like where people live. That makes sense. I believe that. I totally believe that. Spread out all over. Do you know how fiercely loyal some of these Notre Dame people are that have never stepped foot on campus, but they will die for that brand? It's because Irish Catholic. It's your religion and your heritage. And I can't think of things that mean more to people than those things. That's why Notre Dame fanhood is what it is. It's bigger than just football. It's bigger than just go to school. No, it's Irish Catholic stuff. Wow, Rob asks an interesting question. You think once the NFL season's over, Al Golden may go back to the NFL? I haven't heard anything about that. I also think that maybe 1 year would be kind of too quick to me to do something like that, because I feel like you could do the 1 year, like kind of how I look at Freeman in a calibration the first year, figuring out what you have, settling in, and then going from there. And things should get tidier the further we move along with the operation. I kind of feel that way about Al Golden, that 1 year might be too soon to be like, no, this isn't for me, or this isn't going to work. The defense wasn't terrible, but it definitely needs to be tightened up in areas. So I would think 1 year would be a little quick for that, unless the guy really didn't like it. It really wasn't a good fit, and he really wasn't happy, and none of us know that. Like, none of us know that. He could just secretly not be happy and want to do something else, but it's not something I've heard. $1.99, $2 holler from the prime time. Good morning, John. Go Irish. Well, for sure. The BK story's crazy. I mean, I don't know if it's crazy. They are withdrawing the filing. What? What are we talking about? They're withdrawing the filing. How does that get public? And now this is even worse. This is even worse. If it goes public, you're getting divorced and you get divorced, fine. I think a worse outcome is they're withdrawing. I'm just saying this is in the chat. I don't know if it's accurate or not. The last thing I'd want to do is it comes out we're getting divorced. Then we withdraw the paperwork, but it's in public that everybody knows that our marriage has issues everywhere we walk around. I wouldn't like that. I would like that a lot less than just getting divorced, that people know when we have issues and you're walking all over doing LSU fundraising and everybody knows you don't like each other enough. That's more uncomfortable than getting divorced. Come on, Uncle Fred. That's funny, Uncle Fred. You're saying some funny stuff that I don't even want to go with, that I don't even want to say. The Hart Foundation. There you go. Angela Rudiger, high school coach's wife, and it's hard. Can't imagine the college coaching life. The timing alone, man, people just aren't home. I heard the divorce was fake news. Dude, that's wrong. That's wrong. Like, as much as I don't like Brian Kelly and all of his personality and work ethic at Notre Dame, this isn't right. What's going on? I don't like this story. It's making me uncomfortable now, saying that it's not true. Who puts that out? Rob saying BK's children are denying the reports, saying they have reconciled. This is worse. This is way worse, man. And to me, it's worse. But all right, let's move on from that. That's a little uncomfortable, especially if the details are questionable. Who else is here? Beefeater, good to see you. Yeah, funny Beefeater. Really good one. Good one. Johnny S. Klein did interview. Guess it wasn't a fit. I don't, whatever. Fine. Pat, unfortunately, our corporate media is incentivized by being first, not being right in content creation. Facts are secondary to clicks. Yeah, 100%. And you know what else the problem? It's one thing on social media. Like if I have this Notre Dame brand and I want to break news, like that is low risk, high reward for somebody in my position to go that route. But where I see this being very dangerous is in mainstream news, something will happen. And then the narrative right away is the big one you see on the newspaper, on the TV screen, on Twitter, or whatever, the initial of what it looks like it is or whatever. And then a lot of times you find out those details aren't fully accurate, or later you find out that isn't the full story, but it's too late. The main breaking news story that got all the traffic and set people's minds on the story and how it went is already out. These retractions, front page news, the big story. And then they learn that those details aren't right. 3 days later, it's in the back page of the paper on the bottom. It says correction. Sorry. Right? Like that's dangerous, but that's how it is. That's how it is. They're absolutely incentivized by being first, and there's not a lot of penalty naturally for not being right. That's a problem. I don't see them losing credibility. They would just move on to the next story. Let's see, Uncle Fred. Indy needs better recruits. All the 4-star guys are great. I'm seeing a lot of teams loading up on talent to the max. I mean, I'm not going to agree with you. Or I'm not going to disagree with you. Here's how I look at this. Notre Dame is an 83% blue chip rate for this last class. So that's telling you 83% of the class are 4 or 5-star guys. In contrast, I think it was 5, 6, 7 years ago, Kelly's rates were in the high 40s. They had a couple classes at 49, something like that. That is a huge, huge, huge jump in overall talent for the program and the recruiting class, top to bottom, well-rounded. All right. That being said, I would like both. I would like to maintain this style of percentage rate of a well-rounded class and mostly 4-star guys. And you need a Keeley on one side of the field and a Dante Moore on the other side of the field and a Peyton Bowen returning punts and playing defense. That's where Notre Dame needs to get. That is the bread and butter. The 83% blue chip rate, well-rounded guys that could see the field, like all of that durability, depth, all of that is very important. But I do agree Notre Dame also needs to find a couple of those play right away difference makers, NFL guys. You have them 3 years, they play early, you win with them, they go to the NFL, we're all happy. So that is where Notre Dame needs to get better at. How do we close on these guys that are at the top of the class? And the problem with that is that's where you get into the position of you're getting nailed against the wall as an NIL hostage in the 11th hour. Notre Dame's not going to match checks, so then you are screwed. That is my biggest issue that's coming up with recruiting moving forward. I am no longer like Kelly, where I have to ask, is the staff even trying? Like, whenever I heard Notre Dame didn't get a recruit before, it was, I don't even know if they're trying. So I can't really judge what's going on here because I don't hear that the staff is trying as hard as I think they need to. Now, I don't have that question. It's just a matter of 10 minutes before the official guys could sign. We've had them in our class a year, and then the checks come flying. How can Notre Dame deflect that and win these battles? So that's the thing with that. Here's the other reason I like the 83% blue chip rate. Did this class lack Keely, Bowen, Dante? Yeah, 5-star guys. Alabama had 9 5-star guys in this class. We have 0. Okay? 9-0. It's a big difference. 83% blue chip rate, I love. It's very strong for Notre Dame. But it isn't just Notre Dame's world. We got to exist and win in other people's world. 9 5-stars to 1. If Notre Dame had 3 5-stars, we would all be saying this is amazing. 9-0. That's the difference you're dealing with practically in terms of talent, okay? Here's the other reason the 83% matters to me a lot. The 83% matters to me a lot because in the new playoff era that is soon going to be upon us, to win a championship, you don't just have to win one game like 2012 in the BCS. You don't have to just win 2 games anymore. Notre Dame's going to have to go on a winning streak for a month, week after week, against top 12 teams. That is going to quickly become a battle of attrition and physicality. There are going to be a lot of really good teams that are going to make this playoff. And they're going to look good week 1, week 2 in it. And then they're going to be beat up and burn out. And their depth is not going to allow them to compete with some of the deeper teams. I'm telling you, that's going to be a factor in the new playoff when you got to win a string of games in a row. Teams are going to make it, but they're not going to have the depth to be able to get beat up week to week like that against that level of competition. That's why I like the 83% because it is well-rounded and with guys that can play. Pat Cotter was talking about this when we did our debate earlier in the week. You're going to have guys, they're not just bodies anymore. They're guys that can actually contribute and give you depth. That's why that 83 matters. At the same time, I totally agree with you. Give me 1 5-star on each side of the ball even. I'm realistic. This isn't Alabama. We're not getting 9 5-stars. Can I get 1 on each side of the ball? 1 on each side of the ball? That's a good goal. Like, I'm just trying to be realistic. Okay? So that's how I look at that. And listen, I'm not trying to crap on anybody doing what I'm doing or on Twitter that wants to break the news. I'm just very uncomfortable doing it because I know if you're wrong, that is a big hit. That is a big hit. And if you're right, after 2 days, everybody has the same information anyways. Or after 2 hours, something comes out, everybody has the information anyways. So I don't know. John, does your source have the blessing of the coaches? Maybe. Because my source has a source. Like, that's how these things go. And then sometimes you wake up to a text and it's like, know that this is going on, but keep it quiet. But just know when you're doing your show, this is what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know. Yeah, I guess Klein's out. Looked like it was going to be him. Now he's out. I don't know. Let's see. Bruce, the format, go subscribe. Really good guy. A lot of good sports coverage. Jacksonville, check him out. Morning team. I'm wondering, my more attention isn't being paid to NFL names in this OC search. It's interesting. It's interesting to have that jump, Bruce, from like it makes more natural, progressive sense to me. I got a caller up. You're going to be coming up next. It's weird to me. It makes a lot more sense when you have a high school guy and then they want to coach in college, and then a college guy who wants to coach in the NFL. That's like the natural progression ladder. The NFL is the ultimate. I get all that. Coming back the other way is very interesting to me. Going into that NFL type scene and then coming back to college is different. It's a different way of looking at it. You're dealing with different people. You have to deal with recruiting. The guys, it's just a totally different thing. And I think it's more interesting to me going that way than from college in to the NFL, which is a logical track. So somebody going from the highest league back to college, I don't know whether it's fair to judge that or not. Maybe a guy just realizes they like the college game more and they like more of the interpersonal stuff of recruiting and not dealing with everybody's a millionaire and they don't want to listen to you. Like, I don't know. And Bruce, the other answer to this may be, I'm going to be honest. I don't care about the Super Bowl. I don't care about the NFL. And I think that goes into this, Bruce, too, because like I'm a college guy. Like, I'll record the Bears games on Sundays. And when I'm done doing Always Irish stuff from the game on Saturday, whenever that point of the day is, when I'm done writing articles, done recording the post-game show, whatever, I'll watch the Bears. But I don't care. The Super Bowl, I have all as low interest as you could have as somebody who's going to watch the game. It's going to be on, but I don't care. I'm not betting it. I have no dog in the fight other than maybe, is this a dog? How about wanting Philadelphia people to be upset? Does that count as a dog? Just because I don't like the way those people carry themselves and their attitude. And it's just like the badge of pride they wear for being like just jerks as a way of life to people. Every time I went there for work, it's just these people are just not nice. And it's like that badge of honor they carry of that. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing them be upset, but practically I don't care. So my point is, Bruce, I think there's a lot of people who cover Notre Dame. They're not NFL guys. I am not an NFL guy. So you want to talk about NFL candidates and those people? Yeah, I've heard of the names, but I don't really have a lot of opinions. So maybe that's a part of it too. Once you get into the NFL, people like me are less familiar because it's out of our college circle. So I don't know. Look at this. Puerto Rican Catholic here, Johnny. Hola. The Heart Foundation, baby. I like that. So Bruce, maybe that's why. I don't know. Oh. Bass and Domer, for those who haven't been on ND's campus, especially on a football Saturday, do what you can do to make it happen. The campus is magical. Yeah, it is. It's just my little comfort spot. That is the one place where my soul feels cleansed. I feel at ease. I get a feeling that comes over me like things are going to be okay. Notre Dame's a magical place for people. And you know what else, too? I'm glad somebody brought this up. So many times it's like, and I get why people think this because they watch this show. I have calmed down a lot over the years, though. Brian Kelly not being a part of my life has helped my blood pressure and airline a lot. And I'm not laughing. Do you see me laughing? I'm dead serious. Brian Kelly stressed me out every single day because I had to live every single day knowing our head coach was not doing everything he can to make us win. And that's a very uncomfortable way to go through life when you think about Notre Dame every minute you're awake. All right? But a lot of people are, oh, John, you're meathead, yell about football, blah, 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 blah. No, football is not the reason I love Notre Dame. Football is the most visual representation to the world of Notre Dame. Bobby Bowden, who I hate with a passion, and my grandfather and father hated with a passion and passed it down, and I'm glad they did. Even the old Bobby Bowden knew. Bobby Bowden used to say, your football program is the front porch of your university. And if you think about that, it makes a lot of sense. The number one thing people think about when they hear a school isn't usually, I wonder what their molecular biology program's like. No, it's football. It's football. So it makes a lot of sense when Bowden said, your football program is the front porch of your university, and people are going to judge you on that. Look at you at that. You got it going on. Do you not have it going on? Are you out of control? Do you have everything? It's the way it is. Okay. But all those other things are why I love Notre Dame. Notre Dame football is the visual representation of all those values publicly. And the reason I lose my mind when we lose is there is nothing more important to me than Notre Dame having national and worldwide respect all the time. And when the football team's bad, it makes us all look bad. They're connected. Sorry, had to go off on that. Klein is out? I guess so. Klein is out per a tweet from Klein. Well, then I guess that handles it. I guess that handles it, doesn't it? I guess that answers that. Oh, man. Okay, so the information on the Kelly thing makes me very uncomfortable. This is a mess. This is an absolute mess. It is. Like, it would be way better to me if it comes out they're getting a divorce, they go their separate ways, and then we all live. But having this go public that they filed and now it's being retracted, that is way worse. Unless they really reconciled and everything's perfect. But I don't know how often that happens in these situations. This is uncomfortable, and I don't even want to talk it anymore. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't. Last season was my first time ever at ND's campus, and it was absolutely magical. Yeah, I know, Bruce. Of course it was magical. I invited you to my tailgate. Obviously it was magical, Bruce. We met up. Everything about when Bruce, the format, came to the Notre Dame game was awesome until the game because it was Stanford. I love you, Bruce. Maybe you need to stay in Jacksonville. You might be bad luck. Look what happened. I know you had a good time, but the collective we did not. Oh, my God. The answer's in the casket. Yeah, I bet. That's where my brain's going to be. Nick Dean, we need to start scoring 45 to 50 points a game and still play good defense. I don't care about the stars. Develop who we got. Keep getting the best guys we can. Development is the key. It's both. It's both. It's both. I always say this. I think a lot of Notre Dame people, they and everybody else of your favorite team, you want to feel like your team's in a good spot. And so you come up with reasons to convince yourself what you're doing is okay. Like, that's a problem I see with Notre Dame fans a lot of times. You're so emotional and you want it to be good. Sometimes it's hard for us to look at and honestly look at where it isn't good enough. And then there's other people that are just so negative, nothing's good enough. And so you got to be in between. I need both. I need the guys we have that are in that 83 blue chip, well-rounded, but not the top elite, but like a middle 4-star guy. I need all those guys to develop. Obviously, yes. But you also need the plug-and-play stars now to really get it over the top. That's my opinion. Peyton Bowen right away. Keeley right away. Dante Moore right away. Big impact right away. Year one. I'm not sitting there. Maybe these guys can play in 2 years if they hit the weight room with Bayless. Maybe this guy in 2 years can see the field and it's going to be awesome. No, that's not. No. We do too much of that. No, everybody can't be a 5-star with the body ready to come into Notre Dame and play right away. I understand that, but it also can't be none. There's middle ground on so many things that no one wants to explore. It can't just be develop the lower guys you have and they turn into, you're not getting over the hump that way. That was the Kelly way, and we never got over the hump that way. There's better talent now doing it, but it's a version of that. You need both. Give me even one on each side of the ball that could play right away. I'm not asking for Saban's 9. Give me one on each side of the ball that could play right away in each class. I'll be happy. Like, you got to start somewhere with that process of the top talent. Give me one on each side of the ball that could go make plays the next year as a freshman, and then develop 25 other guys that are in a high blue chip rate, and you can get them going. I need both. I need both. And the challenge is, I don't know how much Marcus could do about this. Like I'm a big believer in Marcus and his personality and the way he interpersonally communicates, all of that. I love it. There's only so much you could do when you're getting hostaged the night of recruiting, the night of signing day. You're getting hostage. I don't know what Freeman could do about that. That is the most, one of the things that bothers me the most, thinking about the near future. Things that are within Marcus's control, I believe that man sees the world in a way where he gets it, and he's going to be able to figure a lot of things out. I don't like stuff that I don't feel like Marcus could do anything about. And the NIL hostage in the last minute is one of them. Uncomfortable for me. Uncomfortable. It is. It is. Coffees for closers. I like that Notre Dame mug. Keep in mind, some of the 4 stars were downgraded once they committed. Some would have been 5. I know that. And I still don't understand why Rivals dropped so many of our guys. How could Drake Bowen drop as much as he did? Knowing Brennan Vernon's family and parents and getting to know them and their recruiting journey, the way that guy dropped just because he didn't want to do social media, didn't want to pump up stuff, didn't go to all the camps, didn't need it, wanted to go to Notre Dame, shut it down. And then he performed well in the All-Star games in early January. Like, I don't know what goes into all that. So you are right. There are some that were downgraded. Where's the ones that are upgraded then? Like, if some of them got downgraded, where's our guys got upgraded? Like, why is it just downgraded, Notre Dame guys? If some of them went down, where's the ones who went up? How could everybody in Notre Dame's class just get crappier over the winter? I don't get it. I don't get it, bro. I don't. Johnny is a 5-star. Yeah, 5-star what? 5-star running my mouth in my basement? I'll take it. I'll take it. Thank you. Oh, man. It is funny, though. Like, I hear all the time, man, recruiting rankings don't matter. You're wrong. Recruiting rankings don't matter. Develop your guys. No, wrong. You don't win titles that way. You just don't. Show me somebody who did. You can't, because they don't exist. I can't stand it. Oh, just about, you know what? Here's the ultimate test. I always bring this up as the ultimate test. Why? Explain to me. Cope. Everything's a cope now. You got to just work it in your mind to cope. Answer this. Why is it that I never see a fan of a team that their recruiting class ends up in the top like 5 or 7 or something? How come none of those people ever say recruiting numbers and stars don't matter? Do you ever find that very bizarre? That all the teams who do recruit elitely, you never hear from them that the stars don't matter, and that it only comes from fans of teams who aren't recruiting elitely or at that level. Don't you think there's something to that as far as coping and how people deal with stuff in their minds? I never see a team that finishes in the top 5 and a beat writer for them or anybody, a fan on Twitter goes, it's really awesome we got a top 4 class, but stars don't matter. You only exclusively hear that from fans and writers of teams who are a little frustrated or they're mad that their recruiting class isn't at the level they want it. So they have to rationalize that it's going to be okay anyways. And then that's what you would say is that the development and recruiting stars don't matter and all that. And then that's where I push back and say it's both. It is not one or the other. Notre Dame specifically needs both to get into a position to win playoff games. You need both. You need your very, very rock solid 4-star average depth guys, and you need a few guys that can play right away as youngsters for you. That's what Notre Dame's going to have to start getting. I will say, if Notre Dame could stumble into a lower level guy and they develop into being elite in a year or two, that's beautiful too. That's beautiful too. But I would like some of these guys coming in with a profile that I think they could play right away. Give me one on each side of the ball. Beautiful place start for modern Notre Dame. One on each side of the ball. Beautiful place start. All that depth, 83%. And then you give me one guy that's a wrecker on defense and one guy that opens up the offense. Boom. Now we're in a better spot right away. Oh, should be a good game. Looking forward to it. Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. The NFL's, it's just a cold corporate grind to me. Like it's just not the same emotion. It's just more of a corporate feel. And me being all collegey Notre Dame-y and how does everything make you feel? It just doesn't hit me. Maybe if the Bears were good, I'd be more engaged. But even then, when the Bears win or lose, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm just supremely interested because that's the team in my area. But I don't care one way or the other. There's no emotion with the Bears. It's just geographical. Oh, man. Philly fans already said if they win, the city will burn. Yeah, and if they lose, the city will burn. So get ready, Fire Marshal Bill. So I have a feeling either way, knowing those people. Oh, man. Oh, geez. Greg does not like Tommy Rees. Wow. That is very aggressive. Not going to put that up on the screen. Geez. Man. Mike says, I'm sorry matters like divorce are so public. No matter how much money he has, it doesn't change. We have feelings. We're all human. I'm telling you, I feel a lot worse about this story now than I did when I started this show. And I thought they were getting divorced, calling it a day and moving on. This is very awkward if they rescinded that, but now it's out there that it was there. And now this just, icky. I don't like the feel of this at all. That's kind of dirty and, doesn't feel good. And the other reason this is an issue is awkward for me is when you're LSU's coach's wife, you have a lot of responsibilities in the program. Those wives do a lot with like charity stuff and having like a group of the coaches' wives and players' wives. Like those wives are involved in the program a lot. That's a part of the deal. A lot of these wives are very involved in charity, and Packy did that at Notre Dame. So, like, she's out there. It's not like she's behind the scenes. This is very awkward. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm a lot more comfortable talking about him not being able to recruit than this. It's very awkward. What in the world? I don't like this story. Not talking about it anymore. It got very awkward. This show needs more funny voices. I could do a bunch of imitations if you want. All right. So here's the deal. I don't know what direction this is going to go as far as the hire. I'm going to give you 5 things I want to see in the hire. I was thinking about getting ready for this show. That's a lot easier way for me to do it because everything I've heard, it changes 2 minutes later. Colin Klein before the show, 10 minutes before I go live. Nope, that ain't going to be it. So let me go over the 5 things I'm looking for real quick, and then I'll go to the phone lines. Couple people have been waiting. I'm going to give them my time. I want to get through my list, and then we'll go ahead and hit you guys up, okay? Number 1 of my priorities for the next vision of the offensive coordinator is being physical. Okay, being physical as a DNA, being physical as an identity, wanting to be physical. I've been saying on my shows, I am not going to say maintain Notre Dame's physicality. They weren't physical enough last year in some big moments against teams you had no business losing to. There were a couple of those where you weren't physical enough. And then your biggest hated rival of all time, you weren't physical at all. And as a result, you handed their quarterback who was bought and paid for, didn't even select to go there after high school. Bought and paid for, you handed that guy the Heisman because you decided not to be physical. Unacceptable. So I have a desire. I know Notre Dame wants to have a physical identity. I need that to stay, but I need them to actually like be physical in the biggest moments all the time. Being physical is a mindset. It's not something you just turn on and off with a light switch. You either have it in your mind, you're an animal and you're going to go beat their ass, or it's the other way around. How do you just pick to be physical against Clemson, but not against Stanford? Not against Marshall? Are you serious? What's going on? So, number one, physical at all times in all that you do. And I'm not acting like we already have that. That's what I need us to get. Tying into that, number two, run the ball when you want / and or need to. I'm going to repeat. I'm very careful about my words. Run the ball when you want / and or need to. Okay? Number three, get more chunk explosive plays mixed into still being physical. A lot of times people feel that if you want to throw the ball around and do deep crossers and stretch the field vertically and do more of that, that it's at the expense of being physical. I don't think it necessarily has to result in that. The way I look at it is, if you're going to run a downfield passing tree scheme for a drive, it takes longer for guys to get open and the quarterback to drop back and do all that and everything. You need to be physical to run deep running plays or the guy's going to get sacked. Like, physical can mean different things. Good offensive line play that protects Hartman for 5 or 6 seconds to let a guy get deep is being physical to me in a way. Right? And so I want the new guy to find a way to be able to provide the excitement and the put the worry in the defense that hasn't been there as far as Notre Dame might get behind you. The middle of that field, a guy in stride, right across field, catching a ball, and he's gone. I see that way more from everybody else than Notre Dame. If you're able to start mixing that in and maintain your physicality, that's where Notre Dame's offense takes off. That's where Notre Dame's offense gets very, very dangerous. When they can line it up and run it on you if and when they want to, and or start throwing the ball around and have good blocking on the outside for it and good internal blocking with the line. So get more explosive passing guys with the ball in space and on the move, do all that, mixed into still being physical about it. Physical blocking, all of that. Number 4, a good teacher. A good teacher. This next wave, think about this, you guys. Notre Dame's next wave of great players are going to be young guys at really big positions. Think about offensively. Like, yeah, you have Sam Hartman. But the next group of guys that are going to be running this program and playing on Saturdays are probably going to be younger quarterbacks and younger wide receivers. Because of some of the recruiting and development issues with Kelly, that's just how this is going to phase out, where you're going to have a lot of young guys in position to play, and they're going to deserve to play. That's where I need a good teacher for these young guys, especially wide receivers and quarterbacks. It's a big deal. And then number 5, this should be pretty obvious. I need this guy to be an elite recruiter and communicator. And you could put recruiter or you could put communicator. I'm putting both because they're wrapped together. Like, I need this guy to be able to get along and understand and relate to these quarterbacks. That's one thing I think Tommy was able to do. We could argue about the results, but nobody could argue the guy wasn't able to relate because it was his exact scenario. So those are what I'm looking at. Physicality, number 1 at all times. Find a way to get there. You're not there yet. How do you get a mindset offensively where you're physical at all times? Run the ball when you want and or need to. and then get more explosive plays in the mix. Good teacher for these young guys that are going to be our bread and butter coming up next. And then recruiter, communicator. Like, that's the other part of the Tommy thing. A lot of people, I don't like Tommy, this and that, whatever. The guy was willing to work in recruiting. It's a big deal to me, especially with quarterbacks. The way Kelly didn't do that with quarterbacks is a lot of the reason that we're in the position we're in. All right? So that's what I'm looking for. We got a super chat here. What do we got? What do we have here? Let's see. Where are we? Hello, Domers. Phil Ag. What's going on, Phil? Deb Thomas. Dr. John. Hi, John and gang. We've been talking about the new OC. What's the consensus? Lewis gives me a good vibe. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm telling you, the consensus 10 minutes before I started the show was people thinking that it was Colin Klein and I was done. But yeah, Lewis, that would make sense. And you know what else is interesting with that, Dr. John, is if it was Lewis, that's very interesting to me. Because at Colorado, you're going to have, it's prime time. And he's trying to get that all ramped up and get all that talent in there and do all that and change that whole vibe. That would be a very interesting move from prime time to Notre Dame. Very interesting. Interesting indeed. Let's see. Where are we? Where's my super chat at? I want to make sure I get it for whoever gave me that. There it is. Oh, it's Adam. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Adam's one of the guys I talk to every day about this stuff. We're usually texting about what's going on. I appreciate that, Adam. You're the man. All right, phone lines. What do you think about any of these topics? 480, you're my hero. Give me something good.
Hey, what's up, John? This is Greg in Arizona. How you doing, man?
What's going on, man? Really nice to hear from you. Do you have any thoughts on all of this? One would be, I haven't talked to you since Tommy, his legacy, how Notre Dame fans should think about him being here and then now that he's left, and then any insight on direction you would want to go on OC.
Yeah. So when the news broke about Tommy leaving and going to Alabama, it was a bit of a shock, just because with everything that had built around the offense with Sam Hartman coming and Caleb Smith, and I mean the recruits that were coming in, I mean just the trajectory just looked like, okay, Tommy's got his pieces together. Now it's about seeing the production, and we were going to finally get a chance to see if Tommy was really what people have really talked him up to be in terms of this, genius offensive guru guy.
Yep.
And then, in the flip of a switch, Nick Saban gives him a phone call and says, hey,
yep. Listen,
come on down.
Can I ask you, it seems like you're on board with me. Here's the issue I have in my Notre Dame mind, man. The disconnect I have is I hear from all the experts on ESPN and everywhere else that Tommy's a genius. NFL guys think he's a genius. Obviously, Kelly liked him. Obviously, Saban, the king of everything right now, loves him and all that. I get all that. But then I also look at our 6 years of him as quarterback coach and then 3 as offensive coordinator, and I see a lot of non-elite frustrations, and I have a very hard time having both of those make full sense to me. That all of the best minds love the guy, but what I saw here didn't win me anything. Where does that leave me, Greg?
Right. It's just, it just kind of makes you wonder, man. It's always going to be that what if question in our brains. Like, what if he would have stayed this year instead of going to Alabama? I get he has aspirations for the NFL and all that.
Yeah.
But I believe that if he would have really just shown what he could do with the guys that is here, because my thing is he's going to Alabama, but he doesn't really have relationships with these players like he does with Hartman and Minchie and all these guys, because he talked to these guys into coming to Notre Dame. So now it's about and Buckner, so it's like, okay, what are you going to do now going to a program? And I mean, I get it. It's Alabama. It's the cream of the crop of college football. And heck, I mean, every offensive coordinator that has been under Saban has either become a head coach in college or has gotten an NFL opportunity. So if that's his aspiration to want to do that, I'm not going to knock the guy for wanting a chance to maybe get to that level. The only thing I would just wish that he would have done is I wish he would have really strongly considered looking at what he has in front of him and saying, okay, let me just build what I have here, because now you have to go and reprogram yourself to establish a repertoire with the players that, you know, are at Alabama versus what you have at Notre Dame. And so that's the only thing I say is, like, I get both sides of the fence, but I think ultimately I wish he would have stayed just this year. And if it didn't work out after this year, then hey, I would have said if he took an opportunity somewhere else, so be it. You know?
Yeah, and it's really, really tough, man. Another one of my challenges is I always had this issue of knowing Brian Kelly wasn't recruiting the right way, knowing he was in charge a lot of the quarterback stuff that came into the program and all that. The reason next year was going to be exciting with Tommy is I felt there was a a clear increase in talent. And that made me hopeful we're finally going to see Tommy unleash it all, because now we're going to have a quarterback with a handful of experience that can throw the ball all over. And we have good wide receivers. We feel good about the line. The tight ends are always going to be good. And you feel like the wide receiver room is changing rapidly. And within 2 cycles, may be a strength and not a weakness anymore. It was all trending up. We were finally going to see it after knowing this guy since he was 17 years old. We were finally going to get the big ultimate payoff. And now he's gone. And so it's so frustrating. And then
it really is.
It is. Yeah. And here's the other problem. Say he goes to Alabama and they got talent out the wazoo and they're hanging 50 points on people, including Kelly. How am I supposed to look at that and then say, if he was still at Notre Dame with our increased talent, but still not Alabama talent, but increased talent, how much better were we going to get? That is going to be a question I'm never going to have the answer to, and none of us are. But it's going to be on my mind forever.
Yeah, that's always going to be the lingering question and thought in our brains, you know, from here going forward, is like I said, the what if of, like, what could have been with what is here at Notre Dame, you know. And it's going to be very important. This hire that Freeman makes for the offensive coordinator position is probably the biggest hire of his entire career as a coach.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And
yeah, it's going to make or break. It's going to make or break his tenure at Notre Dame, depending on who he hires as the offensive coordinator.
Yep. I think I wrote that the day after this all came up. One of my articles on the Irish Wire was, this move really ramps up the pressure on Freeman. One is perceptually within the fan base, this sheds Freeman of the lasting, largest remaining chunk of Brian Kelly-ness that people complained about, including me. You're removing that excuse. And now you have all this young talent. The head guy's a defensive guy. He has got to get this right, because offense is Freeman's personal weakness as a coach. It isn't communication. It's not defense. It's not recruiting. If he has one weakness, practically, it's that offensive side. This is a big, big hire because it lines up with the increase in talent and it lines up with the new playoff format in 2 years. I agree with you. It's a big deal. It's a big damn deal. And the timing on it isn't ideal, but it's a big deal, man. He's got to get it right.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, quick story, man. I'm here in Arizona. You know, I'm in a commercial for the Super Bowl here Sunday. So you might catch me on TV.
What?
Before the game starts.
What are you talking about? Give us the details.
Yeah. So I shot
Look
a commercial.
at you. You're big timing us. You're big timing us.
Yeah. I don't think I told you this, John, but I do acting and modeling on the side for my work and everything.
I think I kind of gathered that from your Twitter. You're on Twitter, right? I see you on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could kind of tell you had something like that going on. You're a little bit more put together than everyone else that I interact. I kind of got that message. Yeah. Tell me about it. What should we look for? What should we look for?
So I'm in the all black suit. I'm wearing black shades. It's right before the game starts. They're going to be basically introducing both teams. So I got a chance to meet Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes and all those guys. They were pretty cool, man. And like basically just like a celebration type deal, it's kind of like a nightclub type scene, but we're like celebrating, acting like we're celebrating, both teams for making it to the Super Bowl, whatever. And then I guess after that, then they'll come out to the field and what have you. But man, I got a chance to meet Jimmy Johnson, and I said, "Go Irish," and he started laughing at me.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. You know what you should have done? You should have asked him, and you should have said, "How bad did Lou beat your ass in the locker room after that game in '88? What happened there? Did he really save your ass for me or what?" That's beautiful,
right?
Man, that's.
And then I met Matt Leiter. I met Matt Leiter yesterday.
And then it's like, hey, way to ruin our lives when I was 22, you jerk. Like, oh man.
We kind of talked a little bit. I said, man, I was 15 years old. I said, and you broke my heart, man. He's like, what? He's like, what are you talking about? I said, man.
What do you mean? What am I talking about?
Bush push, man. Right. I said, what do you mean what I'm talking about? I said, the Bush push, man. I said, man, that was illegal, So we kind of laughed it off a little bit,
Man, but I just love that you're in that mix, though. I love that you're in that mix. Congratulations. That's a big deal, man. That is a big deal.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's been great, man. I ran to Skip Bayless on my way to my car.
Wow, look at you, man. You're right in the mix.
Yeah.
Tell Skip to chill out. Tell Skip to chill out. Jeez. That little dude is weird. Right? He needs to chill out a bit.
He is weird.
It's a weird dude.
That's true, man.
God. But dude, that's awesome.
But, I ran to a Clemson guy that's a cameraman for Fox, and so we were talking, man, and he's like, man, I really like Freeman, man. He said Freeman. He said he just got a different aura about him. He said when I watched the game this year, he said this is what he said out of his own mouth. He said, Freeman just has this aura like he's all about championship. He's like a championship caliber guy. He said, man, give him like 2 or 3 years, man. This is what the Clemson guy told me. Clemson guy. He said, give that guy about 2 or 3 years, man. He said, that's a championship caliber guy. He said he could just tell when I was watching him on the sideline, when we played you guys at Notre Dame, he said, man, he just has this championship aura about him, man. And I'm like, I really like that guy. Said, so you guys got a good hire. And he's like, look, he said, it's going to be a really, really good game this year. But he said, man, I really like your coach. So people like Freeman, man, from other programs. And
you know what my question is? Let me ask this. This is a really interesting question. You just led me to it. Let me ask this. I think nationally, more people are like Freeman and Notre Dame than anybody ever did before because of Freeman. A lot of people want to see him succeed culturally, what that would mean for him to succeed big at Notre Dame, being a young African-American coach. All of that stuff is getting more kind of momentum and people behind Notre Dame. But let me ask this, within our fan base, when does the heat get turned up on him? We all like him. We love the personality. I do too. Genuine and all that. When does the notch turn to where I like all your personality stuff, but at the end of the day, I also need you to win elitely too? Like, where is that line? Does that start this year? Does it start next year? Where do we get to that point?
Well, I know one thing: we can never go back to 9-4 seasons again. That has to be the floor.
Yes, 100%. Yes, 100%. You can
never go back to that.
And I'm willing, and dude, I'm willing. I am willing and open to be like first year calibration, bad luck with the injury at the biggest position in the sport, dealing with Kelly's bad recruits, and then you're stuck with the whatever. But that only runs you so long before it's you. And as much as I love your personality and delivery, I need you to start, reaching the playoff.
Yeah, I'm going to say, man, after year 3, if we are not in the room, knocking on the door, I'm not talking about on the outside looking through the window. I'm talking about we're in the store, putting on the suit, and getting ready to almost buy the suit. If we're not there, in year 3, then I'm going to start raising concerns because at this point, at that point, none of Kelly's guys are going to be here. It's going to be all Freeman's guys.
Yep.
So, and like I said, this coach, man, this coaching hire is going to be very, very, very important because it can really make or break how this offense is going to flow, the recruiting. I mean, it can make or break whether we keep Carr and some of these other guys. And so, I trust, man, that Freeman understands what he went through the first year. And I kind of have an idea, like I told you once before, what he wants in his offense. Like, he wants that dual threat type quarterback that can really hurt you with their legs, but can really hurt you with the arm as well. Like the Desmond Ritter types of college football, like that dual threat type guy. But he also wants, those dual threat, wide receivers too that can hurt you. So I feel like he really wants that, and he's attacking that in recruiting, but it's all going to come down to coaching and development because the plus factor is that one thing he has made mention of is that he wants to fill the middle of that roster with guys that, like you said earlier, just not on the roster say, oh, I love Rudy and our dad, is a diehard and I wore a jersey when I was 5.
Yeah,
like,
not just bodies, dudes. Not just bodies, dudes.
Yeah. It's like we don't want these types of guys in the room filling the roster. He wants guys that like immediate production. If somebody goes down, you can just put, it's like a constant revolving door. And that's going to take number one, hard-nosed recruiting and top-tier development. And it's going to take a team collective, not just certain pieces of the staff, but everybody, together. And so I feel like, man, that we're on a good trajectory. I'm just really watching about this offensive coordinator hire because, man, it really is going to shake up things in a good way or in a very bad way.
Yep, you're right. You're right. And it's a big, and the part of this that makes me have anxiety is this is the part I feel Freeman needs the most help with. It's not a part where like I'm a defensive head coach hiring a defensive coordinator it's a little different because this isn't his historical area of having his hands all over it and all that. It's a big deal. And you got the way Notre Dame's building makes it a big deal because our best players in the next couple of years are going to be our young guys. And that's why you need, that's where I'm getting at. This is not plug and play LSU talent, plug and play Bama, plug and play Ohio State. No, it's like you said, the fact that you got Hartman. After that, the next year, it's going to be a young quarterback and young guys running all over on our offense that are going to make us win or lose. The teaching and communication and development part of this relationship is a big damn deal. Now, on the good side, there's nobody I trust more to figure that all out than Freeman because he's a people person, and I trust he could get in a room and gauge who would be able to get that message across and do it. So there's risk here, but we're all just waiting, man. 5 times this morning who it's going to be changed. I don't know. I heard it was Klein. Klein, decline. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know, dude. 10 minutes before the
man.
show. Oh, it looks like it's going to be Klein, but don't say anything. And then boom, tweet comes out. He's no longer a part of it. I don't know, man. Ludwig, Utah. Lewis, Colorado. Candle, Toledo, but Miami might want. I don't know.
This is going to be very, very interesting, man. And I just hope that he makes the right choice, man, because, dude, there were even somebody putting out some buzz about Al Golden, leaving and maybe having interest to go back to the NFL because, even though everybody's out here this week, it could be like people, looking for jobs and stuff.
Yeah, it's a big networking week for that. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I want Freeman to succeed, man. I want Notre Dame. We got so much talent on offense this year. It's like, God, I just want a good coordinator that, it's like we don't have to worry about like how much production we're going to get this week because we don't know what kind of offensive coordinator we're going to get. We need somebody that's consistently every week. We know for a fact, minimum, we're putting 30 points on the board. Anything above that is just like bonus and extra. But we just know it's almost a given because of the kind of coordinator that we have that we're going to put up points because we got the type of, creativity in the room.
Yep.
And that's kind of what.
And you also can't give up physicality either, though. That's the tough part of this.
Yeah,
I want you to get more electric, but within the framework of still being physical. Like, that's a danger here, too. I just don't want Notre Dame to start trying to get too cute because I don't know how Notre Dame makes that work. If not only for talent, if for weather for after home games. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say Ohio State throws it around a lot in crappy weather, too. But the way Notre Dame's built and the way the talent is now, it's a big priority to me that they maintain physicality, run it when you want or need to, and add in a more exciting downfield game people got to worry about. I'm asking for everything, and that's hard to find, but that's the problem. I'm asking for everything.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be something, man. I've definitely been watching and monitoring, what's going on with this because, I want to see us succeed, man. We got the talent, we got the wherewithal to really make something shake this year. And I think that next year, man, it's really open, man, for anybody for the taking in terms of the championship. Even with Georgia losing guys, I mean, it's just that open space where something can happen, man.
Yep.
And
it's all going to change,
we
man. 2 years, that new playoff format. And it all lines up.
That's what's really important.
But it all lines up. That's my point. You got Freeman in there, and then you give him a few years to get situated, and then he flips the roster. Hopefully he settles on a staff that can stick around a bit. It all kind of lines up, and you got your young quarterbacks to work with. This could be a very exciting time. I can't overestimate what a big hire this is. I'm not going to downplay it. It's a big deal. You got to get this right because of the position you're in right now. It's extra critical. You hit all these points.
Absolutely, man.
But hey, on the nail. You have a good one, man. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and I'm going to be looking for you on the TV, and I want everybody else to as well. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, man. Be safe out there. Have fun.
All right.
Later.
All right.
Man, what a good caller. This is the nicest dude in the world, and he's going to turn into a movie star. Unbelievable. Brian Van Gorder's burner. Am I the only one who's kind of happy Tommy's gone? Are you new here? Like, it's 50-50. I'm telling you, when I add up the messages in the chat, the emails, the DMs, the text messages, the phone calls, it's like, I'm telling you, 50-50. All of us get those messages with our friends, whatever. I'm telling you, all the ones I've got, which is an increased amount because I'm somebody who is in this space, 50-50. Good move, bad move, happy for Reese, mad at Reese, he's a traitor, or this is the best thing for him. I've heard it all. 703, you're talking to me. What do you think of Reese's pieces out of here?
Well, I mean, Tommy can do whatever he wants, but all that stuff that he said when Kelly left, like, I can't trust guys like that.
But wait a second. How long does that word last? Like, these are coaches, and he said he wanted to stay there, and he did stay there. Are you going to hold him to that for 5 years, 10 years, his whole career? Like, how long is realistic for us to hold him to that speech? I don't have the answer. I'm genuinely asking. Coaches move around all the time, right?
Like, if I was a player, like, I would think he would at least be there for more years. I mean, if I was a player, so.
But you're pushing him to 10 years of coaching in Notre Dame because it's been 6. Mm-hmm. That would be 10. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Does it make you feel better at all that it's Alabama? Like, I guess what I'm asking is,
Yeah.
wouldn't you
Oh,
be
yeah.
wouldn't you
Yeah,
be
for
more
sure.
offended if it's like, I'm going to Northwestern, I'm going to Iowa, I'm going to
Oh, yeah.
Illinois? Then you're like, now he's crapping on that is a crap on Notre Dame, saying, I just don't want to be here and I just need to get the hell out of here. At least
Mm-hmm.
he's going where nobody could deny it's the number one program rolling right now. I know Georgia's rising, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm building in, Saban and all he's accomplished. Do you think he's going to do good there just because of the talent, or no? What do you think?
Mm, well, it'll be another test for Tommy developing quarterbacks because those guys like Milrow didn't look great. Ty Thompson, he could be
It's a
good. We
good
don't
point.
know.
It's a good point.
Yeah, it's a big, like if he can develop the quarterbacks, he'll be fine. But if he can't, oh
Yeah.
boy, he may be looking for another job sooner or later.
Yeah. And I do admit, I was excited to see Reese work with the new talent. If we didn't have the increased recruiting and wide receiver, and we still had quarterback things where I'm going, where's the potential even of elite coming from? I don't see it in any of our classes. That would be very, very different. But it's just not like that now. And I wanted to see him work with the new talent, but he has other dreams. And it's very hard for me to argue that it's not a promotion, even though it has the same job title. It is. It's a higher profile. It's a higher profile. If he wants NFL, that might be the answer.
It'll be interesting to see if he can improve the receiver play at Bama because their wide receiver coach now doesn't look much better than Della Alexander, just from what I've seen recently.
Well, at least if it was that, you're working with way better talent. Like it may be that level of coaching, but I know for sure that the talent isn't going to be a problem, and that was here. So that's a little different. And the other thing is the way Saban operates, man, he'll light you up. And I think Tommy's fine with that because Tommy will light people up. So I think it's a big deal for him, man. And you think the microscope in Notre Dame land is big? Football's literally religion down south. Like it is religion. It isn't even anything like Notre Dame, and Notre Dame media is crazy, and I'm a part of it. It ain't nothing like, dude.
Yeah.
Man, if they struggle down there, the heat down there is nothing like it is here. However, it's not at Notre Dame where you went to school, so it's a different vibe. It doesn't hit as quite as personal to home. It isn't your roots, you know? So who should we hire? What are you looking for in this guy?
Well, I want to hire a guy that has a proven record of developing quarterbacks. Like that's the thing that scares me about Ludwig, because he did a good job with Utah, but he wasn't a quarterback's coach. So that's what scares me about him. I want a guy that's like a quarterback's coach and an offensive coordinator.
Yeah. And it's super important because Notre Dame's going to be working with these young quarterbacks, and their early growth and development is so important. Just because it is generally, and because we haven't had that. So like, that's a big thing we need.
There's a part of me that wants to hire Lewis just to spite Dion, just the petty side of me a little bit, because Dion stole some of our recruits, so we can feel his offensive coordinator. That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny too. But it's like, man, that's prime time comes to town. And if you could pull the guy away from that, that would be good. And then, like when I thought it was going to be Colin Klein a couple hours ago, even I started thinking, all right, well, it's kind of a similar to Tommy Reese thing. Hometown guy, old quarterback at his old school, then coaching there. And then I figured, I'm looking at some of the numbers and I figure, what about research? And it's research and recruiting. Colin Klein should have access to way more talent recruiting for Notre Dame than Kansas State. You want to talk about Kelly shopping down a different aisle? I was thinking Klein would have way more access to better talent recruiting for us than Kansas. He ain't coming, so it doesn't matter. So never mind. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
And a guy, I know like Harry can be a little difficult to work with. So we got to get a guy that can that's a people person like Marcus that can work with like big personalities like Harry. Because you need Harry here at all costs.
And you know what you do with Harry? Here's what you do, man. Offensive line is just so different. There is such a unique mindset that goes into all offensive line stuff. And you know what's very interesting about offensive line too? It's these big, bruising, tough guys hitting people, blah, blah, blah. But when you look at the NFL and they do the Wonderlic tests, oftentimes offensive linemen score the highest on intelligence tests of guys going into the league. So you have a really interesting dynamic of all these 330 pounders that are also intellectual and like super intelligent. It's just its own unique, brainy caveman mentality at the same time. Here's what you do with Harry. You just let Harry do his thing. And Harry isn't trying to meddle. Harry ain't trying to get involved in other stuff. You let Harry run Harry's shit. Harry's not going to get in your way on your stuff. And you just kind of back off and let Harry do a Harry. And he ain't power hungry. He doesn't want to have the loudest voice, or he just wants to do Harry activities. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. It's going to be wild. All right.
I just don't.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much it just changes every day. There's a new candidate.
It's almost too much, man. Like I quit trying to follow it on Twitter because I figured every hour I log in, I get another direct message of a rumor and then it's not true. Like I can only do that so many days to where now I'm like, whatever, let me know who it is. And then I'll do the research and do a show saying about him. Like whatever, but it's just been rumor. Even this morning, rumors about Klein. Now, I don't know. I'll react to the news, not try and break it.
Well, I'm glad that this offensive coordinator is going to have a good staff to work with, because I really like all the guys on the staff right now. So, I mean, I'm not saying don't mess it up, but like it's hard. It would be hard to mess it up. Just like come through with the play calling and the quarterback development, and we should have a top 15 offense this year. Don't you think, John?
I don't know about that. I would hope. I would hope. Like that's the other question is what does Hartman instantly give Notre Dame? Is it a touchdown more a game? Like there's got to be a metric like baseball, a win above replacement. How many wins is this guy worth? Is it one more win than we would have had without him? Does it change everything? How much better do those young wide receivers look working with this guy than what they're working with before? Maybe we undersold some of them because of what else was going on getting them the ball. Like, there's a lot that goes into this, but Hartman gives you a chance to really get this thing exciting and then go from there with your young guys. It could all line up great, but you gotta get a right guy in here, figure it out.
Yeah, it just excited me how good the receivers looked against South Carolina, especially Thomas.
Yep, and reinforcements are coming too. I'm telling you, wide receiver could be a strength in about 2 years, not a weakness. It's beautiful. Anything else, my friend? I got to leave a little early, so I want to try and squeeze a couple more in.
No worries, John. Go Irish. Let's hope we nail this hire and keep it going.
There you go. And as soon as something gets announced, we'll talk about it here. You know that for sure. Have a good weekend, my friend. Enjoy yourself. Take care.
You too, buddy.
Thanks for calling. Oh, thanks for calling. 810. What do you know?
Hey, John. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. What's on your mind today in Notre Dame land?
A lot.
Where do you want to start? Let's get into it.
With the coordinators, I had heard earlier this, like, even as late as Wednesday that, it's going to be Klein, it's going to be Klein. And then I wake up this morning to, it's not going to be Klein. That's great. You're telling me all these people it's not going to be. There's all these rumors. All I want to know is, who is it going to be?
I'm telling you, it's very annoying, but I've learned to expect this in college football and with Notre Dame. I'm telling you, right before I turned on this show, it's Klein. John, here's the information. It looks like it's going to be Klein. Prepare for that. And then right before the show, I get a whole bunch of texts going, nope, that's dead. Don't know what happened, but it isn't happening. I don't know.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I would like someone who, like Freeman, like Reese, is a little bit younger, so maybe they can connect a little more with the players.
All right. Now let me flip this on you. I understand that perspective and I like it, especially in the head coach. Do you have any
But they're worried
anxiety
about
that this is the offensive guy and
experience.
we have young talent and you might want a guy with more experience because Freeman's low on offensive experience? Do you have a concern with that in this way you might be better protected having an older guy with more experience? I see it both ways. I see this both ways.
Now, if Freeman were an offensive mind, I would not be worried about experience.
Right. And
in
I
my
get that.
offensive coordinator.
That's kind of how I'm seeing
But-
it too.
But because Freeman is a defensive mind, I am a little concerned with experience. However, look at and I know this is NFL, so it's comparing apples to oranges. Look at the Rams, for example. Sean McVay, okay, granted he's head coach, but from what I've heard from some people, he's mostly the one calling the plays. He's only like in his, I want to say like, he's only like in his early 30s.
Yep, it could be done. It's rare. Isn't Shanahan in that age group too, under 40, something like that? Like, and then look at his lineage. Yeah. Look at his lineage too. And Reese has that, and Reese has that lineage because his dad's been an NFL longtime career guy. So I don't know, man. I just think whether the guy is high on experience or low on experience, that ability to communicate and be a good teacher is such a big part of this hire. Because Notre Dame's best talent in the new playoff era is going to be young talent. The first year that playoff's available in the new format, 24, our best guys are going to be young. You're going to have young 2-year wide receivers running out there, a first or second year quarterback going out there. I need somebody that can wrangle all this talent and get something out of it.
And that leads me to my next point, which is recruiting.
Yeah.
Mainly NIL. When NIL was first introduced, my first thought was, oh, this will be great because these are kids who don't really have time to get a job while they're in college, right? Because they're doing football.
Right.
Or basketball or what have you.
Yeah.
Now, why do you go to college? You go to college to get training for a job, essentially. What about, let's say some of these players, let's say their NFL career never pans out, or they end up with a career-ending injury. They will make no money off of their football talents apart from maybe broadcasting. And that's it. So my first thought was, oh, this NIL is perfect. It gives them an opportunity to make a little money. Because I viewed it as them having brand deals, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But then it comes out, or not comes out, but then it turns into basically highest bidder, which I do not like at all.
Yep.
Because then you have teams like Texas A&M and their oil money, or Oregon and their Phil Knight Nike money.
Yep.
Or USC and their LA money.
Here's the bad part. I got bad news.
The top recruit.
I don't see it getting any better because even if they regulate it, and even if the NCAA or the government or whoever, if they tried to regulate it, the people that want to go above and beyond, they go up to the point that's legal with the actual upfront cash. And then the duffel bag gets delivered to grandma's house under the porch in the middle of the night on a Saturday night in the summer.
Or if you're Tennessee, you hand the money to a recruit in a
McDonald's bag. Yeah. What do you got? You got 3 hash browns in there? Yeah. And $100,000 too. Make it all last. It's a little wild, man. I need Notre Dame. Do you wish Notre Dame would be more involved in the NIL space and be more public about what they have going on? I think they should a little bit. I don't want blank checks. I don't want blank checks,
No.
but I want Notre Dame to flex their worldwide muscle of recognition in this.
Right. I do want to get involved more in NIL, but I don't want to get to the point where we're like Texas A&M or we're like USC, where we're just handing out money left and right.
Right. Yeah.
I would prefer it to be you get to be after all the recruits are signed. So like around this time of year, you as a head coach or athletic director or what have you, have a meeting with maybe each player individually of, hey, these are the brand deals, right? These are the brand deals that we have available for you. Which ones would you like to pursue?
Yeah. If it was me, I'd have this all set up at Notre Dame like this. And I don't know how they haven't done this yet. You go to Notre Dame, you get a huge database of all the alumni, where they work. You find all the people that work for all these big, important, fancy companies. And then you go to them and you approach them and say, you're a Notre Dame guy. You're in a position of power. Let's make your brand better. Let's make our brand better and help out our guys. What do you want to do? Let's do a deal. That's all you got to do.
Think of like,
that's all you got to do.
And think of some of like the famous alumni we have, not even just for football, but like just in general. Like, I mean,
yep. Notre Dame's got a huge opportunity in the NIL space because of their brand, but it only matters if they engage it and cultivate it and embrace it and not act like NIL is a dirty little word. NIL is not a dirty little word. Notre Dame should be afraid to say like it's, and I think they're getting there. They just hired a director of NIL. I forget her name, but they hired her about a month ago. Maybe she is the one that's
that gives me a little bit of hope that maybe we will start digging into NIL. And the way my brain's wired is I go directly to football. How many NFL Hall of Famers are Notre Dame alum?
Yep. There's a big network there to work. You just got to work it, and you got to be open with it.
There are so many former NFL players that can pull their resources together, pull their contacts together, and be like, does anyone have anything? Like, let's get something rolling here.
Yeah, like it wouldn't be. I'm telling you, I've been saying this for a while, and I'm not kidding. That would be my dream job. Give me access to that database and let me pitch all of our Notre Dame fan alumni and let me craft a message to make them understand the value we would all have, that their company would gain and that Notre Dame would gain, and helping our players. It's an easy message. Maybe they're getting there. And here's the other thing too. Notre Dame's still in the top 10 of NIL. When they put out those NIL numbers, Notre Dame is still in the top 10. And you know who else is too? Michigan is too. But whenever NIL comes up big picture, I hear Michigan isn't doing enough with that Jordan brand and Notre Dame's not doing enough with their national brand. Yet they're both in the top 10, but it doesn't feel like it because they're doing things right. Get in here, play a year or two, then you get your opportunities. It's not money up front. That's being confused as the same thing. And that's why we're in a bad spot. That's my speech.
And all these young recruits just want the money up front.
Yeah.
But I think what I would do if I was Notre Dame, I'm still calling the NIL director or leader or whatever, is I would pitch, yes, you're not getting the money up front, but when it's all said and done, by the time you graduate, you will have just as much, if not more, than if you go somewhere else and they give you the money up front.
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense.
And I think we also need to pitch the actual, like, I don't want to say glory, but like the attraction that is to companies that is a Notre Dame degree.
Yeah. Yep. Nope.
Like if a company sees a Notre Dame degree on your resume, they're going to be like, okay, this kid really knows what he's doing.
Yep.
Like, he went to a really good school. He knows his stuff. And then I live in Michigan. I'm
that's your
90
fault.
minutes from.
That's your fault.
Oh, yeah. I'm maybe 90 minutes from the hellhole that is Ann Arbor.
Oh.
So everyone I'm surrounded with is a Michigan fan.
Ah!
Yeah, it's bad. But what they
how do
were
you
saying
even
was,
exist? How do you even exist in this ecosystem of mullets? Oh,
I hide.
dude, I don't like
But
that.
what they were saying is that Michigan is trying to, like you said, do more with the Jordan brand, but also reach out to former players and alumni and try and get some things rolling, which is what I've been pounding on the desk for since NIL started.
Yeah.
That Notre Dame should
That's the
start
move.
to do.
That's the move for Notre Dame and Michigan. They can both rely on their old players and all that. And if you're Michigan, take it a step further. Michigan has the football and the Fab Five thing. They can lean on the Fab Five thing for basketball if they want. So both of them are in a good position, and you leverage the Jordan brand. That's genius. Like, there's a lot more both could do, but both of them are trying to do it the right way, and that's not very popular right now. So they're not exactly at that level. One more thing, man, and then I got to get running. I got an appointment this morning. Final thought. It's all yours.
Okay, I know schematically how we lost to USC, right? They played better than us. But how do you let that happen?
I don't know. But it bothers me. Listen, losing to them, that's not how I expected this conversation to go. I'm glad you turned it at the end. I like this. Here's my response to that. My issue isn't just that we lost to USC. My issue is how we lost to USC. I thought we might lose, but I wasn't expecting to get bullied around up front on both sides of the ball by Lincoln Riley year one, buying guys to patchwork in offensive and defensive line. I was very upset by that. If we lost because that quarterback was just throwing circus Mahomes throws and winning or spinning around and run, fine, he's good. Give him the damn trophy, fine. But what I had a problem with is Notre Dame got bullied on both sides of the ball. We were supposed to be the established physical program, and we weren't, and we ended the guy the Heisman, and I haven't slept good since.
Nope. And I'm going to have a bad taste in my mouth until mid-October when they come to South Bend, which should be a very good game.
It's a big deal to me. It's a big deal to me because it's not a good harbinger for a Notre Dame coach to start out 0-2 against USC. That's very dangerous, and it can't happen. Final word, and then I got to run, my friend.
I got nothing, dude. Go Irish.
Beautiful. Good call. Have a good one. Hey, keep yourself safe up there. Be alert for these Michigan people. I don't trust them. Keep one eye open.
I don't either.
I don't. I'm not kidding. I don't trust those people. I've been around them enough at games to know I don't trust them. Be safe, buddy. Thanks for the call. Oh,
all right. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Go Irish.
Go Irish. Oh, man. Mike, $9.99. This hire has got to be bigger than the Freeman hire. Too much is at stake, wasting Hartman, the recruits, and Minchie. Yes and no. I mean, it can't be higher. It can't. I want to know what you mean by bigger. Like, it can't be more important than the head coach because the head coach dictates the DNA of everything, how recruiting gets done. Like, so I can't say bigger than the Freeman hire because getting the right head coach sets the tone for everything. But it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. And it's a little anxiety because of how important this is. All the young talent and everything, Freeman not coming from an offensive background. There's a lot in that. So I don't know how that's going to go. All right, guys, I got an appointment. I got to go. 818, you could be first up next. I owe you. You jumped in. I couldn't get to you. In 2602. And also, both of you guys are regular callers, so I'm really sorry I didn't get to you. But next call-in show, if I see your numbers, I'll put you up first. Everybody have a good weekend. Thank you for being here. Super Bowl pick. I don't like Philadelphia people, and then I guess I'll side on Mahomes, even not 100%, making enough plays to figure it out. I don't know. That'd be my guess, but I do not follow the NFL closely enough. All right, folks. Everybody have a good one. Have a good weekend. Relax. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Don't drink and drive. That's the other thing. I know people like to party for the Super Bowl. What a great way to ruin a February night in your life. Then you're at your dumb brother-in-law's house pounding 90 beers and eating nachos, and then you're going to drive home like a moron. Don't do it. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Oh, thanks. Have a beer on me. $5. Right when I said not to drink and drive, Pat gives me beer money. What a great way to end the show. Fantastic. See you guys.